Obviously, no surprise to see Mad Life is good at Lulu. He used to have montages of him knocking people out of like Thresh Lanterns and stuff. It's something we haven't touched on a ton right now, but like, holy crap, Mad Life's in the Challenger Series.
That's true, but he's not going to be playing as Lulu this time because Gold United banned away on the blue side, as well as the Shen away from Licorice and the LeBlanc away from Fox. Does look like there's going to be the Rengar ban followed by the Malzahar and Varus double purple bottom duo, and the Rise being taken away right away there by GCU. There's no way they're letting Fox have that.
Yep, and I like the Lulu ban. It does make the picks in the bot lane a little different this game around. You don't want to risk giving up, as it is one of the priority picks that people generally take on the red side. The same way that before Varus really rose to the #1 position where it became bannable, and it was just one of the best AD carries. You often saw people taking that first on red side because it's just very easy to grab it along with another priority pick. Lulu has taken that spot basically where when you're on the red side, just grab the Lulu. It's going to be a strong champion for you. So we see United not able to do that. They go with the Jace and the Karma.
Yeah, the Karma going to be coming in for Zeyzal this time around instead of the Soraka, which has still been left open. So picking up the Jace as well, which was actually not selected whatsoever. I don't know if it was banned last game or not, but this is going to be a different style of play. We haven't really seen either Fox or, well, we've seen Licorice play it once, and unfortunately it was a loss for them, so we'll see if it winds up going in the top of the mid side. Yeah,
and Gold United going to grab the Graves. I don't believe it was targeted too heavily. I mean, it was banned out, I believe, in the second ban phase when eUnited was targeting those junglers away. But it was kind of surprising to see it even go, that unpicked. Usually when people first pick the Rengar, you see some kind of counter that they end up matching with. They didn't do that. And they're going to grab it this time, though, as well as the Ashe pick.
Yep, so continuously denying some of the more utility AD carries from the pool of Deathly by selecting the Ashe. It's going to wind up putting Mash on something that is a little bit more utility focused as well. He's thrived on the Varus, which is, I think you'd mentioned, kind of ascended into permaban status more recently, and now the Ashe is going to be able to put down that lockdown on someone else. But now that it says eUnited, are they going to pick their second solo lane? Do they go for a jungler? They have both a jungler and an AD carry on the side of Gold United, so those pools can be pinched in the second draft phase.
Well, there's going to be a lot of pools that can be pinched in the second draft phase. We see the Jace going mid now, basically with the Rumble pick. That's almost a guarantee unless you see some crazy Rumble jungle stuff.
Or Jace ADC!
Yeah, so obviously you have the mid lanes matched, but you don't have AD carries matched or top laners. So a lot of different things to ban out here. Supports can be targeted the way United going for those top laners. Looks like they got rid of the Camille. Don't want to play that matchup again.
No, so the Camille being banned away, the Lee Sin being banned away from Gilius. Don't want to put him on God Gilius status quite yet. The Rengar had been banned away earlier, so that does still mean that the Kha'Zix could be available. Rek'Sai is still open. We'll see what they wind up banning away on the side from Gold United. And the Soraka actually coming in from eUnited as well. So they know the power of that pick, and they do not want Mad Life to have that.
I mean, we saw Gold United use it extremely effectively in the semifinals. We saw Zeyzal use it just in the previous game extremely effectively. So eUnited doesn't want to give that one over. No surprise to see it banned away there. Gold United going with the Ezreal ban, targeting more of Deathly's champ pool, though this time he might get his hands on that Caitlyn, which we've seen perform extremely well on before.
And that would kind of synergize very nicely with the fact that they do have the Jace and the Rumble and the Karma, so a lot of poking and a lot of damage from far away could be what eUnited wants to go for. Gilius does have a couple of things open in his jungle pool. He's played a wide variety of junglers. You kind of pigeonhole him into that carry-centric jungle style, but he's able to utilize that style on a variety of picks, and it looks like the Gragas is going to be locked in for him.
Kind of surprising to see the Gragas come out for Gilius here. It is have a lot of ganking pressure throughout the entire game. You have your body slam early on, and then when you hit 6, you're able to blow people back into your team. But I always thought when we saw the Elise, however, that made a lot of sense as well. Extremely aggressive champion. Gold United not wasting any time, basically insta-lock in the Nautilus and the Nami. And now United get that last pick for their AD carry. Not one of the best champion roles to last pick for. There's not too much that you're going to be able to grab.
No, but it does look like they're hovering over that Caitlyn for a very long time. Although both of these pick phases now have seen a tank coming in for both of these sides. The Gragas being the one that eUnited's picked up, the Nautilus for the side of Gold United. So that already means it's going to be a little bit more of a front line than we saw in the previous match.
Right, now that I'm thinking about it a little more, I'm wondering if that was slightly a pick away from solo. A lot of people do play the Gragas into Rumble, and maybe they know solo plays the Gragas pick, so by grabbing it in the jungle there, not only does it work as a decent jungler, but also works as a takeaway from the enemy's top laner.
Yeah, so that means that these lineups for eUnited, a little bit more magic damage coming out. We have the Gragas out of the jungle, we have the Rumble in the top lane, the Karma from the bottom lane. So early game focus going to be a little bit more magic damage dealing, but definitely has gotten that Caitlyn's one of those few AD carries that he's actually undefeated on, 3-0. We'll see how they stack up in the bottom side of the map, because eUnited's bottom lane was handling themselves extremely well in game number 1.
Yeah, they were in a relatively tough matchup. The Sivir not the best champion to play against Caitlyn. If anyone's ever done that before, it's not too fun. But they had the Soraka to top it off. Zeyzal mostly hung in the back, kept his Sivir healthy, and then they saw an early gank, were able to live through it. They were able to trade back relatively effectively with the summoners, and then able to play out the lane from there. They did fall behind after those BF sword purchases, but for the most part, did fine overall.
Yeah, so as we see the coaches shaking hands and walking to the backside, it means game number 2 is about to get underway. Top lane matchup's also really interesting because this is something we thought we would see kind of flipped around the other side. Yeah,
I mean, we usually think of Licorice as that tank player. This time, once again, on the Rumble, but against the tank, as Solo has taken the Nautilus. And overall, eUnited have an extremely standard team comp, very strong overall. And eUnited going for a higher damage team comp, though it is nice to get a tank in the Gragas.
Well, high damage and high aggression are the ways that eUnited like to play the game, whereas United do like to play a little bit more calculated, so they've gotten themselves a decent composition for that. But we're about to hop into game number 2 for the Challenger Series finals now. We'll have to see, is it going to be United taking a 2-0 lead, or is it going to be eUnited uniting the series at 1-1?
Yeah, a lot of United puns that you can make. You've done a good job so far, Tom, of not
trying so hard not to.
Yeah, you've done a good job so far. That one wasn't pushing it a lot.
That's a freebie.
Not too bad. Yeah, that one goes free. We'll see what they do level 1. Mostly in the Challenger Series, much just like the LCS. Nothing too crazy. Not those 5-man stack invades that we used to see back in the day.
Now, something that we haven't mentioned is the fact that United, throughout the Challenger Series, oftentimes took a little while to kind of warm up. When they were going forward with these games, they wound up splitting a lot of games into 1-1 ties, and we always kind of had the ongoing joke of Game 1, United shows up and warms up the team, and then Game 2 comes in and shuts them down. This time it's United taking a series lead. We saw what happened in the semifinals when that happened. It was a 3-0. eUnited are going to have to put the brakes on them here.
And we saw that a lot of the aggression early on and the plays were coming out of eUnited in that first game. And for the most part, United was reacting to them. So maybe it was eUnited forcing United to skip their kind of Game 1 style and get right into the series. And I mean, for the most part, United held up to that pressure.
It's true. United was very good at absorbing the pressure. We'll have to see if they're equally as good at exerting pressure, although their composition, as you did mention, a little bit more standard, won't necessarily have to be as early game focused as the side of eUnited, who, with a Jace pickup in the mid lane, definitely wants to get Fox snowballing. It's kind of their game plan to go to anyway, but specifically with this Jace pickup, the early and mid game is really where you want to get them online, and it gives them one of those split push threats that kind of match Ride towards the later stages of the game.
With Exhaust, Jace is basically one of the strongest mid laners available. It doesn't have any bad matchups per se, and go aggressive if he needs to. I expect to see Gilius making a lot more gank attempts mid lane, just like last game.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, crazy prediction there, Mark.
No, but top side of the map is going to be where I'm putting my focus on. We said already, you talked to Broken Shard, he said Licorice might be more of a carry player than a tank player. Carry versus carry matchup went in favor of Solo. It was a Camille matchup, though, and Camille herself has been known to be a little bit of a strong pick in the top side of the map, but this time the tank is on the foot of Solo, and Licorice is on his carry champion of Rumble on the top side. We'll have to see what he does now that's in a bit of a more advantageous matchup for him.
Might have been some kind of long con there out of eUnited. Oh, yeah, he's a tank player. Look at all these tanks he's playing. Aha! He's a carry player. He's going to play Rumble every game in the finals. But Game 1, not the most convincing. It was well played for the most part, but there are a lot of situations where you think if he was on a tank, it would have suited the team better. Here we see Santorin going for a cheesy blue buff steal early on.
He's going to take it. They wound up using the hawk shot from Mash as well to scout out the fact that Gilius was going over to his wolf camp first. So a little bit of a deviation in the path from Gilius. Normally he goes buff to one camp and then buff again. This time he stopped and picked up his Raptors as well as the wolves. So getting a little bit lagging behind and Santorin capitalizing. Yeah, Phoenix continuing to put the pressure on the Fox. It's like we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, same kind of thing. Phoenix, despite getting kind of forced on, is able to trade back very well. Gets a big health advantage again. And just to touch on Santorin's counter jungling a little bit, we saw a lot of this actually in the series in the semifinals. He was able to get a lot of leads playing around his strong solo laners who were able to get pressure in their lanes. And that opened Santorin up to get a lot of CSs, camp steals, excuse me. But here, they get the flash out of Mad Life, level 3. Gilius hovering around there. It feels like United is aware of this. They have a lot of wards down there. They definitely saw him coming, so they're going to hang back for now.
Yeah, so the premature flash there from Mad Life, just making sure he's kept safe. Did not want that root from Zeyzal's Karma landing, and now this time around, it's definitely playing the Caitlyn into an Ashe matchup, which is the worst thing in the world, but there's a sustain support versus a bit of a pokey and a shielding support. So this bottom lane matchup might be slightly in favor of the eUnited bottom side, but we'll see if they're actually able to transition any of those advantages in the early game into something through the mid to late game, because they got first tower last time. It took a little bit of a push and pull back and forth with 4 or 5 people in the bottom lane, but eventually they got it.
Yeah, and I mean, when we talk about what we've seen out of definitely Caitlyn in the past, there was a lot of just constant shoving and chipping the turret down. They were able to get that early on. Here we see Licorice making a really early roam down on the Phoenix, trying to get a kill here.
Fox takes to the skies and tries to knock Phoenix back, but it is going to wind up being an exhaust coming out from Phoenix. Fox with no mana to his name has to back away, but Licorice taking his bully lane elsewhere on the map.
I like seeing that early roam out of the Rumble. He's trying to get something going for his team. Ends up just being an exhaust trade, not really getting his team a big advantage there, but nice to see that he is trying to spread that influence early on.
We've seen top laners utilize that shove and then roam to mid lane advantage on picks like the Renekton when it starts snowballing ahead. Licorice himself trying to do something very similar on the Rumble in the top lane, but on the bottom side of the map, it's actually GCU, even though Nami was the one who burned her flash, getting up face and aggressive against Deftly and Zeyzal.
Really aggressive trading out of Goldcoin United. They know that they have the sustain advantage with the Nami pick there. Having a hard time matching the push that Zeyzal and Deftly have, but having no trouble matching the trades.
So a lot of back and forth on that bottom side of the map, actually forcing Zeyzal to wind up going back a little bit early on, so definitely will stay underneath his own tower. Meanwhile, on the top side, Licorice roams himself back up now that there's a fat wave of minions stacked up back against his tower. Takes a little bit of poke there from the Nautilus, but content to just CS himself back up.
Gonna do a little bit of catch up there. He pushed in the wave, Solo was stuck under his turret farming it, tries to get that row mid, bounces back to him, catches under his turret now. Even CS in the top lane after all of that. Only big CS advantage coming for Phoenix in the mid lane. Kind of what he's known for.
Yeah, and that's been our featured matchup coming into this best of 5 series. Phoenix himself, about 15 minutes in the game, averages 1 CS up. Last game was a little bit closer, but this one with the Rise, the wave clear coming in early on, might be a little bit more in his favor, although Fox picking up the Jace, like we mentioned before, a little bit more of an early game, a bit of a lane-centric pick. Both of them have kind of gone back at relatively similar timing. Some of the cool things about being able to start with a longsword on some of these mid and marksman pickups is the fact that your timing to go back and pick up that Straighter Dirk exactly matches the tier from your mid lane counterpart.
And sometimes you do see the Jaces also going with the tier in the mid lane. This time Fox electing not to do that. Not too much of a surprise given how aggressively eUnited like to play around that mid lane. You see some wards coming in from Zeyzal after that recall, after they were able to push in once again on Goldcoin United. Goldcoin United also getting the recall off, both bot laners with that BF sword now.
Yeah, with the shove advantage from Fox in the mid lane. Doesn't need the tier as much if he could just take to the skies and get some of that mana back by going to melee form, though. Should be a little bit careful. Phoenix, level 6 now, has actually gotten his realm warp. Santorin, in the meantime, despite a little bit of early counter jungling against Gilius, has kind of been content to sit back on his own side of the map and do his crazy kind of thing. Very fitting for Santorin's playstyle. He likes warding, he likes clearing out the camps, he likes dealing damage in the later stages of the game, but he's really about that jungle control and kind of being a threat in the later stages of the game, making sure his lanes are safe early.
Talking about playstyle of junglers, I'm kind of still surprised to see the Gragas pick for Gilius. It made sense if you're trying to take it away from Solo a little bit, but it's not a very scrappy jungler. Can't really go in there and just duel the enemy jungler easily. You see another big trade down the bot lane here.
This is where scrappy things are going, as the teleport's being channeled for Licorice. She's level 6, so he's going to come in with this Equalizer. The exhaust is down onto Mad Life. The Equalizer cuts him off, and Zeyzal's there as well as definitely First Blood United.
Nice teleport play there by Licorice, not matched by Solo. Had no idea it was coming in. Picks up the First Blood. Not a huge advantage, though it's nice to grab that one. Get onto Caitlyn, which is nice too. No longer the supports grabbing those First Bloods.
And it's off the back of picking up a BF sword as well, so Caitlyn's going to have a decent amount of gold advantage over Mash off the back of that kill, and that's just another good teleport play coming out from Licorice. We said that he's really good with it on tanks, showing that, hey, he's playing the Rumble, he roamed down mid lane, he teleports down bot lane, he's everywhere.
And I like the angle that he used for the Equalizer as well, realizing that it's much more important to stop Mad Life, getting over to the wall and maybe being able to flash out. I think his flash was up at that point, so not too much of a surprise to see there. Focus more on keeping him away from the wall, maybe getting that large, fat wall flash.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, you see Fox taking his blue buff from Gilius, and as you did mention, Gilius on this Gragas pick, not being as aggressive as he was on the Rengar, not being as aggressive as we've seen him all throughout the Challenger Series, and a lot of this focus has now kind of been on the 3 rookies and their synergy for eUnited rather than this mid lane jungle EU duo.
Right, and I think a good example of that was when he put the ward at that wolf camp and it spotted out Santorin, wholly unable to really go aggressive as the Gragas pick. It's like we said, not the scrappiest jungler, quite the way you might see out of things like Rengar, Lee Sin, Kha'Zix. So I'm going to be curious to see if eUnited can use it well in the mid-late game. It also is a little tough to play with a Rumble. Obviously, there's some inverse synergy there where, you know, Licorice will want to layer his ultimate on top of multiple members, whereas Gilius is going to be trying to blow people around all over. So it can be hard to play this comp out, given that there is that kind of inverse synergy.
We'll have to see if eUnited are going to be all on the same page when it comes to that team fight stage, or if it's just going to be a fact that they may use that explosive cast to blow this game wide open in their favor. eUnited has been known to be extremely aggressive and like their early game advantages, but GoldCoin United has been pretty good at absorbing that pressure. In game number 1, when it wound up crossing that 30-minute mark, like the analyst desk was saying, it's turned into GoldCoin United's favor. eUnited's kind of seemed to slow down, didn't exactly know what to do, but it looks like in this game, they're going to try to focus that bot lane.
Yeah, they're down teleport. Melissa Putson trying to force around this. Here we see Solo start coming in, and the roam is being matched by Phoenix and Santorin. This could easily get turned around if they're not careful.
Yep, Solo winds up teleporting in. They're still over by the tower. The depth charge comes out, but a flash away from Fox. They turn on to Solo, but he's not going to go down. Now a flash forward from Phoenix. He winds up locking down onto Fox, and it's going to be a kill over to Santorin. A flash away from the bubble from Deathly will keep him alive, but GCU turns it around.
And there you see the over-aggression by eUnited turn back around on them. They knew that was coming from a mile away. As soon as Fox left the mid lane, they could see that Santorin and Phoenix started roaming down to try and match that. Solo was able to get far enough away from the Rumble they could get the TP off. Still got chunked out a little bit for doing so, but Rumble really has no way to stop him from getting down there. And so here you see MadLife already checking to see that coming over the blast cone wall. Is able to try and negate that engage. Mash has the arrow. It's already been turned and stopped. Now you see Solo on the side coming in at half health because he was chunked out a little bit, but not really able to get onto anyone. Good heal there by Mash to keep him healthy. And after that, because they weren't able to, get Solo down right away, it's hard for them to kill anybody. And GoldCoin United picks up a kill there.
Yeah, so eUnited trying to get things going for their mid and jungle duo, and unfortunately they wind up giving away a kill to the opposing mid and jungle duo who roam down to match them. So it's going to be slight gold advantages now for GoldCoin United. Just a couple hundred golds we cross about the 10-minute or so mark. Solo using that teleport down the bottom side means that now Licorice will have a teleport advantage in just a couple of seconds. There is a Mountain Drake available, and with that bottom lane shoving from the side of eUnited, we'll have to see if they try to change their focus from going for kills to going for objectives.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, what happens when you get this desync teleport is that you're going to see a lot of different opportunities for one team to make a big power play on the bot side of the map. So Licorice's teleport's going to be coming up in a second here. We'll have to see what they can do. And one thing I got to say is that I think the way GoldCoin United plays around teleport is a lot more impressive to me. When they were at TP disadvantage early last game, they aggressively attacked the champion with the teleport in the top lane, which was the Rumble. They were able to punish him for being up there. This time around, eUnited, despite being down teleport advantage, still tries to make the roam play down to the bot side when you could say maybe they can make it around the top lane and stop the action from being on the far side of the map where they don't have the global. Here, Mash shooting out a Ashe arrow being like, hey, don't take my turret this wave, wait one more.
Yeah, try saying that 5 times fast. Mash shoots the Ashe arrow.
Mash shoots the Ashe arrow, Mash shoots. That's easy. I'm not even gonna bother doing it 5 times.
Twice.
I got through it twice well enough, I felt like I was gonna get it.
But with that ultimate down, that does mean that eUnited are gonna be able to take the first tower of the game. So still, sticking to their game plan of getting definitely some gold. It looks like he may actually be feeding MadLife a kill over as well. Tidal Wave comes out. Ooh, the Piltover Peacemaker does not land, but Gilius is able to secure the kill.
Nice move there by Gilius. MadLife had thought that they were gonna back away more after they grabbed that turret. He wants to walk forward for a little bit more vision, but gets scouted out and killed. Here, Santorin on the top side, trying to punish that by stealing away the red buff, bumped into Licorice. He's going to try and turn back around on Santorin here.
Oh, he's overheated. A flash forward for Santorin, and Licorice goes down.
Not quite knowing his limits there on Rumble, gets blown up by Santorin. The fighting's not done yet, though, as eUnited looks mid a little bit.
Yep, Fox gets a shot blast and a gate combination onto Phoenix, but Phoenix fancies himself a little bit of a 3v1 situation here.
That's exactly what I was talking about with Phoenix. I mean, if this dude thinks he can fight, he will try it. No reason to back off if he doesn't think he's going to die or might be able to pick up a kill himself. That was one of the concerns coming into the series was is Phoenix going to try and fight Gilius and Fox by himself all the time, or is Santorin going to be able to match? And for the most part, Santorin has held up, and Phoenix and Santorin have shown that they have the same strong jungle mid synergy that Gilius and Fox have.
Santorin's also shown he just has strong synergy all across the map as he wound up going topside and picking up a kill, gets solo a tower. It is going to be eUnited though, knowing that Santorin was still away in that top lane, thinking they can take an uncontested Mountain Drake, and they will.
And eUnited probably a little bit ahead in terms of game circumstance, grabbing that one. There is the concern that, you need to be able to use the Mountain Dragon. As powerful as 10% true damage to objectives is, if you're not hitting turrets or barons or dragons and you're playing from behind, it is one of the most useless dragons in the game, actually. So eUnited are going to have to keep the pressure up, but they have the tools to do so. You see them putting Jace potentially in the long lane bottom now. We talk about how much they love setting up these 1-3-1s. Jace is a champion that's great at it.
Yep, and the tools they have sent to the mid lane are that Karma and Caitlyn duo. So Caitlyn, of course, being known for a very strong champion at taking those outer ring of tier 1 towers. Definitely has picked up the Zeal in addition to pieces for his Infinity Edge. There's a decent spike of attack damage for himself. It will really be a question of how are they going to be able to break the inner towers, because Caitlyn, of course, does have that little bit of a mid-game plateau, and that syncs up where United usually utilize that advantage around the 20-minute, 25-minute mark when it starts to fall off.
The nice thing about Caitlyn in this meta is the fact that you do end up a lot of the time just sitting out mid lane and dealing a lot of wave clear duties while other members go run around the map and make things happen. I mean, she usually is that champion in the mid game where you try and avoid fights with her. Hopefully you take the first turret down, and previously you would put her in the top lane to start pushing down extra turrets. Now you just camp out more in the mid lane, but eUnited and definitely extremely strong on that pick. They've, like you said, haven't lost on the Caitlyn yet. So GoldCoin pretty difficult opponents.
Yeah, very true, but definitely has his comfort picking Caitlyn, and that's kind of the duties that United has stuck definitely on. He's very content playing wave clear AD carries. He's very content managing these kinds of things for his team. When people like Licorice try to make teleport plays, although this one he didn't teleport in for, he's going to get locked up. Equalizer gets thrown down. He has to flash away from it, but on the top side, the EU crew find themselves a Santorin in their jungle, and they're trying to get the Graves down. He dashes away, uses the Blast Cone, but Fox is going to get one last auto attack in for a kill.
Almost gets away there. A slight miscalculation of the damage by eUnited, but they are able to finish him off. Santorin was roaming down, trying to get involved in that fight that was breaking out in the bot jungle, gets cut off by the mid jungle of eUnited, and now with that man advantage, they're grouped up trying to siege down this turret.
Yep, they got a Caitlyn, they got a Jace with a blue buff, and they got a Gragas who might not have his ultimate. They could just stand in front of some of these skill shots headed their way and see if eUnited are going to continue to land the poke damage down on the Mash. They do have a Nami
nice bounce.
Yeah, but Madlife actually very low on mana. They wind up hooking in on Deathly, but he's going to wind up keeping himself safe. Looks like that eUnited just can't quite complete with the Rise and the Ash wave clear, and they back away.
Phoenix had a pretty good job there, actually bouncing his spell damage onto the other champions of eUnited while also kind of dealing with the wave clear. Pretty nice to see that out of Phoenix. Help defend that base. And at the same time, Licorice was down the bot lane pushing in waves. So we'll take another look at that. Santorin getting caught out here. They saw him coming. You see the aggressive flash in by Gilius. And then it's too hard for Santorin to get away, though they have to burn a lot of resources to pull this one off.
And they are finally able to get the seal the deal on the kill onto Santorin, although they aren't really able to capitalize on much. GoldCoin United, despite losing their jungler in that situation, they wound up burning summoners on the bottom side as well because Licorice got caught out, and they defend the push 4v5.
GoldCoin United got to be pretty happy with how that one turns out, given the fact that they get their jungler picked, don't lose any objectives off of it. And eUnited now continuing that 1-3-1. Jace up in the top side, Licorice down the bot lane. Not going to face check the Nautilus, though he's not the most scary champion to bump into.
A little bit. He's got...
Depends if there's other people around him. The Nautilus isn't the scary part all the time.
Nautilus is not always
nearby.
He's the quintessential CC bot of League of Legends, but he has a Santorin and a Phoenix kind of slowly creeping up the bottom side there. It looks like GCU now going to set their sights on this bottom lane outer tower from the side of eUnited. The dual lane from eUnited still continuing into this mid lane setup, and as you mentioned, the 1-3-1 from eUnited looks to be the way they want to go about things, with GCU are just going to counteract that with a 0-2-3.
0-2-3. That's not really a thing for any extended period of time. There you see Licorice intelligently just ulting the wave. Felt like there was a lot of pressure up there. They don't see anyone on the top side with the minions going into the turret, so you suspect that they are down on the bot side trying to make a play. He clears the wave, plays it safe, and this buys Fox enough time to push down the top lane turret here. Going to be able to grab the second outer for eUnited.
eUnited jumping ahead 2 towers to 1 in this game. That means that their gold advantage jumps up to about 1,500 gold. 3 kills to 2 is now we're approaching about that 20-minute mark, and eUnited They were in a gold lead at 20 minutes in the last game, although it wasn't necessarily a large amount. GoldCoin United were able to kind of take that fight towards the mid lane area of the map. They wound up turning the gold lead back on its head. It was very difficult at eUnited to try to wrestle that one back from their control. So now, I mean, the onus is on eUnited. If you have this gold lead at 20 minutes, you have the pressure pushing on the different sides of the map with your 1-3-1. How do you utilize it? And getting definitely caught out with an Ash Arrow is not the way to do so. It has to burn multiple summoner spells to get out.
Yeah, really unfortunate timing there. The Mountain Dragon's coming up in 45 seconds. Your AD carry just lost his flash. He's chunked out, needs to get a reset off, otherwise they're going to have to concede this one. We'll see how eUnited plays it out from here, but you don't want your Caitlyn sticking around when you have a dragon spawning in 30 seconds.
No, I said multiple, but it was actually just the flash that got used. Definitely staying a little bit more healthy because of the shields coming in from Zeyzal. So it has the heal available, does not have the flash, and now it is GoldCoin United pushing aggressively. They've already gotten a little bit of a push on that bottom side when they had 3 members before, and it looks like Phoenix might be trending down towards that side. They want to keep this mid lane pressure up as well, so as you mentioned, when that Mountain Drake comes up in about 10 more seconds, they can just rotate over and try to take it.
Here we see now GoldCoin United starting to dip into that river. They have some pinks down, hoping to find a member face checking. Not going to be able to do that. Both teams throwing wards over, and so begins the Dragon Dance.
United last game were able to capitalize on a dragon fight that GCU thought that they could take the dragon and then turn around and fight. Though it looks like this time around they're going to be a little bit wiser to the wear, and they do wind up backing away after just throwing down some Scuttle Crab and taking control of the area. Both these teams being extremely content to just kind of push and pull back and forth in the middle side of the map. United being a little bit more reserved than their earlier game.
Yeah, much more reserved. I wouldn't say they've gotten gun shy necessarily, but I don't think that they're on their comfort champions to make a lot of plays. Like I said, Gilius, his Groggs has been fine, but I don't think he's quite as comfortable on. Oh, though we see the big flash body slam.
It ends up locking up 3 members, burns the flash from MASH. The Equalizer gets thrown down as well. United looking to try to take the fight before they start up the dragon. They burn some Summoner Souls, but burn some key ultimates, and the Enchanter Crystal Arrow lands on Zeyzal. The CC chain follows with the Tidal Wave, and without an Equalizer, this fight is all but equal. GoldCoin United pushing forward. They get Deathly, they get Gilius, they get the fight.
They're able to grab a 3-for-0 turn onto the dragon. United not wanting to give this one away totally free, but there's not much they can do about it. A really nice dredge line there by Solo to snipe out Zeyzal from the back line. You don't always necessarily want to focus down the support early on in fights, but if you're able to hook him out just like that, blow him up for free, and then turn on the rest of the team, pretty good fight there for GoldCoin United.
It was pretty much just a one-way ticket into the middle of the team there for Solo, and off the back of that, the Mountain Dragon fresh in their pockets. Going to be a mid lane tower going down for GoldCoin United.
Yeah, able to use that Mountain Dragon right away.
Yeah.
Burn down that mid lane turret, evening up the turrets overall, but also grabbing a gold lead off the back of that team fight.
Well, as you mentioned, eUnited coming into the 20-minute mark, they're going to be looking for a fight like this, looking to solidify the gold advantage, but it's GoldCoin United turning it around once all those ultimates are used with eUnited.
Yeah, I think GoldCoin United are one of the best teams we've seen in Challenger in terms of tracking advantages. They know that the ults are down for the jungle and top lane on the side of eUnited, which makes it extremely hard for them to actually win a fight here, so they just turn right on to eUnited and force again. They have the Ash Arrow to start things off, as well as the CC bot, like you were saying, and Nautilus makes these team fights pretty easy if the damage threat is not there from the champion like a Rumble, because normally you're pretty scared to run just face long into a Rumble.
Yeah, so that's going to be GoldCoin United now wrestling control of the game from eUnited. 5 kills to 3. Slight gold advantage, not a lot, just a couple hundred. GoldCoin United themselves, although their gold advantages around the 20-minute mark aren't as advantageous as eUnited when they wind up getting their snowball going. They're no slouches themselves, an 83% win rate, and that doesn't even count last game.
How much would it bump it up, Tom? Do me some quick math on broadcast.
That is ill-advised, Mark. Instead, I'd rather talk about the fact that now with eUnited, a bit on the back foot. You said before they were a little bit more reserved in their play this game. It may have come off the back that they're playing a little out of their comfort zone on some of their specific pickup, but after losing a fight like that they initiated, they are definitely playing a little gun shy.
Yeah, I mean, a big problem here is that they don't have a ton of CC, so even though you see that nice aggressive flash body slam by Gilius using his ultimate right after, I mean, they don't have anyone else to hold anyone in place, so the members of GoldCoin United can just flash away. And so if their flashes are available, it's hard for eUnited to really get a strong force team fight like that. They're going to work a lot better when they're able to kite back. The Karma, the Caitlyn, Rumble to an extent, even Jace are all champions that love having to disengage team fights, and Gragas can be used to help with that as well. We see there, though, when they use those tools aggressively, that allows GoldCoin United to open up extremely easily onto their team comp. As soon as the Ash Arrow hits someone, you can probably kill that person easily enough. No Zanya's available for Licorice yet. So everyone's basically squishy aside for Gilius, and without an ultimate, how does he really disengage once he gets CC'd?
Yeah, and that's one of the problems eUnited is facing here. Their ultimate combinations aren't necessarily as powerful for turning fights around as Goldcoin United are. They have the Depth Charge and the Dredge Line coming out from the Nautilus. They have the Ash Enchanted Crystal Arrow. They have the Nami title wave. And hey, even if eUnited are able to live through all of that, they still have the Rise ultimate to reposition them in the middle of a fight. So Goldcoin United, despite the gold not necessarily showing they have a extreme advantage in this one, are definitely favored as this game goes later and later. They still have the Rise scaling up. Ash herself is no slouch in the later stage of the game. They have Graves to provide a lot of damage. And eUnited do wind up having that Jace pickup where while he can wind up split pushing and maybe taking people one-on-one with that exhaust, isn't necessarily the biggest damage threat once people start building up armor, start getting over the hump of the fact that those shock blasts do a lot of damage.
It is surprising, though, to see eUnited still basically the one dictating the action here. They group up around mid lane, they get some chunk damage onto that turret, they break away before Goldcoin United can properly respond. There's not really anything for them to focus down as they already have the top lane outer turret. Phoenix is pushing that one in, and this is kind of the criticism that we had of Goldcoin United coming into this series, is that when they do get leads, it feels like they're unable to really press that lead and force down onto the enemy team. They get good vision control, they make sure that they don't give up any random picks and things like that. And for the most part, they're able to secure a lot of objectives, but it's a slow and steady grind like you heard Santorin say.
Well, that's what they call themselves, a controlled play style. We sometimes say it's a little bit slow. That's why they have the second highest average game time.
Yeah, and even in the clip, Santorin was saying that they want to start playing more aggressive. This is a game to do so. You have a lot of tools available. You have an Ash Arrow, a Realm Warp, Teleport, Nautilus, so you should be able to hopefully find some pickoffs while this enemy team is set up in their 1-3-1, but Goldcoin United have not really found the chance to do anything with that yet. Well,
eUnited side does have a little bit of scary team fight potential. If you wind up trying to collapse on somebody, they do have the tools to kind of reposition you with the Gragas Explosive Cast. They have an Equalizer to kind of cut off escape routes or fight into a small, narrow corridor. That Equalizer can completely turn fights around. So Goldcoin United sticking to their guns, playing things slowly, playing things intelligently, although it has slowed down this mid-game now. It's been about almost 5 minutes since we've seen the last kind of fight, and that was when the dragon wound up going down and the tower falls. The next dragon's going to be spawning in about a minute, and we'll see if that's the spark to kind of ignite which team is going to wind up pulling ahead here.
It is the Ocean Drake, not as strong.
Maybe not a spark, maybe just a wet.
Yeah, who knows exactly what it's going to do. Though we see eUnited once again wanting to pull the trigger here, opening up on Solo.
Yeah, they're going to use the explosive cast. Knock Solo back into the team. He gets a knock-up on almost everybody from eUnited. Licorice gets pulled in. Gilius gets dropped down. Licorice has completed the Zanyas and goes golden, but it has to flash out immediately after that one. Mad Life has dropped extremely low, but it's going to be Goldcoin United drawing first blood in that fight.
Yeah, they open up onto the tank of the enemy team. Solo is happy to be the one absorbing all those ultimates. He gets jumped in, bumped into the team, doesn't even have to flash out, just sits in there happily, and then eUnited's able to turn and melt down the Gragas, not nearly as tanky as a Nautilus in the top lane. So once again, eUnited trying to force some action, but it's not really what their comp does best. And Goldcoin United on the other side is happy to just sit here and scale up.
Yeah, so Goldcoin United get the bot lane pushing with Santorin, shove out the mid lane ever so slightly, and with the Ocean Drake now on the Rift, looks like that's going to be where they focus down. eUnited a little bit more scattered across the map, deciding to send Jace back into the top side. They know they can't contest this. They want to just use it.
A free dragon there for Goldcoin United. Like we said, the Ocean Dragon, not the most impactful thing, but still pretty happy to grab that one after taking a look at this team fight here.
Yeah, and everything gets used onto Solo, and as you mentioned, he's content to get engaged on. He even gets knocked into the backline there with the explosive cast.
Yeah, and he's happy to be there. So Licorice does a nice job trying to turn, burns down a number of members of Goldcoin United, but not actually able to finish anyone off as they don't have any CC to lock them in here. eUnited starting up a pretty aggressive Baron, going to turn off that one. I don't mind that idea too much, you know, just start it off, see what happens. Okay, the enemy team saw us. Let's get the hell out of here. Don't overcommit to the call.
Yeah, so that's going to be United backing away from what they thought could potentially be a sneaky Baron attempt, but Goldcoin United reacting appropriately. And now it's really up to United, like, what do you do from this point? The thing that we criticize them for is they don't necessarily have the best overall macro play when they wind up falling behind, not just in goal, but just in tempo for the pacing of the game. So they continue to try to force these fights. Fox himself had been very lane focused as just a mid laner in general. When he has the Rise, he has the ability to roam into things because of his Realm Warp potential. When he's not on a champion like that, he often has two mindsets. It's either continue following Gilius and continue to force fights, or just kind of AFK split push, and he's kind of been caught between both of them this game.
The other difference too is the fact that he usually has a lead when he's doing this. Gilius has generally snowballed him, and he's able to take these 1v1s. Here, Phoenix proving to be a very difficult opponent to get those kinds of leads on. They haven't really done that yet. So they haven't quite had the opportunity there. Mash gets chunked out a little bit. Looks like he got caught off in that rotation.
Yeah, they used explosive cast, but he did wind up burning a flash. But now it's going to be Phoenix that gets turned upon. He winds up popping Sarah's Embrace shield. Going to be pretty tanky. He's going to up using the Zanyas and the Realm Warp to get himself the heck out of dodge there. So eUnited thought they found the fight, but the Realm Warp gets Phoenix out.
Yeah, a little risky there by Phoenix trying to turn things back around. He does have to do the golden teleport to get out of there. Now we see
fancying himself a fight. They wind up hooking down onto Licorice. eUnited, they've already used the explosive cast. They still wind up having the equalizer available. Goldcorn United thinks that they want to start up this fight. There's the Ash Arrow. Nami Tidal Whip hits nobody, but it forces Licorice to go gold, and the equalizer goes down, and this could be what eUnited's looking for. Fox jumps onto Santorum, but he's barely going to stay alive. The front line goes down as Deathly picks up the first kill of the fight, and now they're collapsing onto Phoenix. eUnited this time around with one ultimate left are able to turn the fight onto GCU.
Really well played by Licorice there. He eats the Ash Hour early on. You have to be a little scared about getting focused down. He's able to get his Zanyas off to dodge the tidal wave. And there, eUnited's able to turn. This is what I was saying. eUnited's team comp fight's much better when they're dealing with getting engaged on. They're able to win that team fight, and off the back of it, grab a Baron just 30 minutes into the game.
That's going to be Goldcorn United this time around. Potentially getting a little bit overexcited. They saw that the explosive cast was used, and in the previous fights, once those ultimates from eUnited were down, they're able to completely turn the fights around, but they forgot about Licorice's equalizer.
Right, I think the big thing is the fact that usually when it's Gilius starting a fight off, he's in the middle of the enemy team. Here you can see he's all the way in the back line, so they're not able to burn him down at the same time as eUnited's burning down Solo. There, Licorice, good Zanyas, good equalizer, able to keep himself alive, and then eUnited's team comp just wants to hit the closest threat available to them. They have a ton of damage, and as long as you're able to hit the enemy tank without giving their backline a good target to focus, you can come out and win a lot of these team fights. There, obviously, Goldcorn United wants to open up onto Licorice, but he's Zanyas. He's invulnerable for that time. He has a Flame Spitter, an equalizer out. It's hard to get onto him, and during that time, your tank and Solo is getting focused down. So eUnited's team comp much better in the counter-engage situation.
This time it's eUnited being able to utilize their composition the way that they intended to do so. When the Baron buff available, now Gilius getting super aggressive, tries to flash an explosive cast onto Mash, but instead he's going to get locked up. He will still be a very tanky Gragas though, and basically just winds up zoning away Goldcorn United from 2 towers falling in the mid.
Yeah, not the worst engage there overall. Trying to snowball their lead as aggressively as possible. Kind of what you expect to see out of eUnited. If he's able to get a big play there, maybe they can take their first inhibitor. I like that aggression, but a little bit too much there, forcing them to back away now. They will still have their Baron buff up for a good amount of time. So we'll see what they choose to do with the rest of it.
While the rest of eUnited recalls away, Fox will go down to the mid lane, get a little bit of a shove off there. Licorice going to wind up going to the top side, has his teleport available, as does his lane counterpart in Solo. So we could see eUnited maybe opting to go for more of a 1-3-1 kind of split push situation while the Baron buff is still on for about another minute and a half. But they have actually, they've kind of seemed to figure out over the course of the game where their composition thrives, how aggressive they can actually get. Gilius still being a little bit over-aggressive, but the rest of this team now is kind of realizing when to utilize their ultimates, when to combo them together. And now it's Goldcorn United. It's up to them. They've been able to adapt when the fights start on them. What are they going to do when they're the ones that have to start?
We'll have to see. I'm not entirely convinced eUnited has figured out exactly how they want to play team fights yet. That all started because Gilius was attempting to pick off Ash at the top side.
That's true.
And then Goldcorn United says, they don't have their Grog Assault. Let's try and start a fight. And United's able to win that one. Be very curious to see if they've actually learned their lesson with this Dragon coming up in the next 45 seconds. That's probably where you expect the next big action to take place. eUnited just grabbing control of the top side jungle there, getting a blue buff on to Rumble. No mana system.
No, but I was going to say maybe his cooldowns come back up, but he has the equalizer ready and available. So
and then you just overheat more.
Just stealing it away, that's all. Just denying resources. They're going to continue to utilize this Baron buff the remaining 30 or so seconds that it has on it. GCU, I said, how are they going to wind up engaging? They're probably not going to do so while the Baron buff is still available. So they just have to kind of sit back and roll with the punches here, not take too much poke damage from a Caitlyn and a Jace off to the side with this Baron buff.
Definitely a situation that United wants to be in, forcing the enemy team to sit underneath this turret, makes Jace off in the flank on the side there, able to land a lot of poke. You see him just chunk out Phoenix and Santorin easily. Neck allows them to grab the turret here. United looking for more.
Ilias goes in. Solo's going to get locked up on the side. The Redemption coming out. The bubble and the tidal wave land on multiple members, but that's still them holding on to the equalizer. A blue side Redemption will come down as that winds up healing up the side of Goldcoin United. And with the Baron buff timing out from United, it looks like they're just going to back away after that fight.
Pretty successful Baron buff usage overall, though. The gold lead has swung up to about 4,000 in their advantage now. Obviously, a lot of that coming from just grabbing the Baron itself, as well as the kills from that team fight. But grabbing 2 turrets with that and being able to push in Goldcoin United, stop their aggression, grab some blue buffs, grab control back of this game now, and reset, trying to get this next Mountain Dragon.
Yep, well, if I had to utilize my stats guy powers for the good of casting Challenger Finals, I would have to say that was an above average Baron power play. They got 3 towers. They want to picking up a kill off the back of that one, and they've gotten a lot of more farm funnel onto their main carries. The Jace now over 300 CS. Caitlyn herself has gone back to the Phantom Dancer on top of the additional seal item from the Runon's Hurricane. So she's now past that kind of mid-game plateau and has gotten to the point where Caitlyn's basically going to be a huge threat in these pushes.
A little surprised to see Goldcoin United just give that one away. It is a little difficult to try and force into the side of eUnited. They don't have a ton of deep vision in. But still, it's a Mountain Dragon. It's very strong. And with a high damage team comp like eUnited has, you have to be worried about how easily they're able to take Barons now that they have double Mountain Dragon. It becomes a huge problem when you have a Rumble, a Caitlyn, and a Jace destroying Baron's health bar.
Yeah, and of course that Baron buff was super successful for them just previously. It allowed them to actually split push. Oh man, my stats guy powers were wrong. That's like a slightly below average Baron power play.
I was going to guess. I was going to challenge you on that. Be like, what is an average power play compared to what you think they got there?
The average Baron power play is like 3,000 to 3,500. This is a little bit under that one, so underwhelming, but the big swing of tempo is really what kind of threw me off in this one. Now we see the Ashe ultimate trying to engage, the Rise teleport from behind. They're both going to miss on Licorice, but the rest of eUnited is actually very far away from their top laner, but it looks like that after those 2 ultimates are burned, Goldcoin United not going to follow.
Normally you have to be a little scared about, whiffing that many ultimates there, but because the rest of eUnited was recalled back in their base, no punish available for them, not able to push down the other side of the map, not able to turn and re-engage a fight. Not in a position to do much about that one. A good look by Goldcoin United, but it goes wide.
Well, that means that those ultimates are on cooldown for a little bit. United, see if they stay disciplined and if they want to save their ultimates for a counter engagement, or if they try to force something knowing that some of those ultimates will be on cooldown for a little bit longer, though. It's an Ashe with an Essence Reaver, so that Ashe arrow will be back up relatively soon. And Ryan himself has a little bit of cooldown reduction in his build, but now it looks like they might try to catch on the Solo. They are going to wind up utilizing these ultimates here. The Equalizer ones are going down. Solo going to dodge out from that body slam, and he will be able to get away, and that's a very key ultimate from eUnited use.
Right, I gotta say, I don't really like seeing the Rumble Equalizer go down there. Take the chunk damage for free, and then use that to pressure the turret more aggressively. Seeing that they use the Rumble Equalizer, they're going to back away here. It's very easy for Soul to get healed up, of course, with the Nami there. But I would have liked to see them play that one a little bit more conservatively on the side of eUnited. And one of the things we have to talk about, though, is the fact that with that gold lead going back in their favor and having a stronger 1-3-1 comp in a sense, I think you see that it's very advantageous to be playing from ahead for their team comp. And obviously, just as eUnited as a team being the aggressive team, likes to play from ahead, but having the Rumble actually able to do a lot of damage to the Nautilus and get him low and force him under his turret, that's huge for how they want to play this game out.
And as you can see from the go totals there, the Rumble and the Caitlyn are the big winners when it comes to these gold differences between these two teams, being pretty much the majority of the gold difference in and of themselves, about 4,000 from the Caitlyn over the Ashe, and then another 1,000 or so coming out from the side of Licorice's Rumble. So 2 prime damage dealers are the ones that are ahead on eUnited's side. That's why it's so crucial to utilize that Rumble Equalizer for the turnaround. That's how they've been coming back in this game. That's what secured them the fight that led to that bang.
You see Mash taken down to a bat, half health just off the Equalizer, or the Shock Blast. Fox trying to finish him off, does get the kill.
Oh, so now that Mash is down, this fight could get turned around on its head. Phoenix is going to use the Realm Warp to get his team out of there. The Equalizer was used, Explosive Cask is used, so that's eUnited picking up a crucial kill on the opposing marksman.
Fox stepping up to show that Phoenix is not the only good mid laner in this series. Basically wins that team fight on his own, able to get Mash Me extremely low. Ilias goes to try and start the fight off, causes enough disruption that Fox can go in aggressively and finish off match. I mean, this results in their second Baron buff.
Yeah, those double Mountain Dragons ripping through Baron's health bar. That's why the feature matchup was in the mid lane, Mark. Both of these guys are pivotal players for their team, and as Fox lands these shock blasts, this is why.
Yeah, you see it's hard to win a team fight when your AD carry is already starting at half health. Gilius goes to the aggressive flash body slam, and while he doesn't necessarily insect anyone in the team, it does split up the fight enough that it's very disjointed, and you're not just fighting front to back against a team that has a tank. You're able to go off onto the side, kill the AD carry. You're able to win the fight at basically full health. A parting shock blast there deters any potential Baron steal attempt out of Goldcoin United. Now eUnited with their second Baron buff of the game, 38 minutes in, trying to hopefully get into the inhibitor line this time around.
The teleports are available on both top laners. Equalizer not yet available for Licorice, although he will be pushing down on that top side. Fox's Jace decides that he's going to go set up shop on the bottom side of the map. That means that the 3 remaining members of eUnited, name of the composition, 1-3-1, setting up in the mid lane to threaten this inhibitor tower, as though now the top lane being pushed in. Looks like that Licorice maybe wanted grouping up with his team here, has his ultimate back available.
United need to be a little careful here with their 1-3-1. The Jace doesn't have that much pressure yet. Don't want to expose yourself to an engage out of the Ryze Ashe Nautilus combination. So good play there, playing it a little safer, waiting for Fox to get in range to take down this last inner turret on the side of Goldcoin United.
Yeah, I like the idea to send Jace to go down where the tower is actually still alive, then send the Rumble to continuously shove waves into that top side inhibitor tower. Now it's Licorice and Fox on the bottom side, and the rest of eUnited united in the mid lane. For a second one. Looks like they're just going to try to pressure down on all different fronts here. Goldcoin United, though, a little bit hard-pressed to figure out where they want to respond with this one. Solo already taking a little bit of damage in the front line. He's a tanky Nautilus, but this is now a 2-1-2 Jace with huge amounts of armor penetration and basically a full item Caitlyn just wailing away on.
Yeah, I think the big problem is the full item Caitlyn. You see how much damage she's able to do to a turret when she gets just a little bit of time with it. You also see how annoying those traps are. Gilius throws his ultimate out there, zoning away. Solo!
Getting roasted in the front line. The ultimate comes in from Ashe, but the equalizer's in the backside. The redemption will keep Solo alive, but Licorice flashes forward and goes golden to take him down. Now with the tank away, eUnited will push away. That's going to be a mid lane inhibitor going over to EUN.
Are they done yet? They're going to keep trying to push down onto these Nexus turrets. A 4v5 and no tank available for Goldcoin United. Can they stop this?
Well, they've already gotten one Nexus tower, Mark, and this could be very dangerous. Goldcoin United had low health bars with their summoner platforms right there so they can heal up. They still have a decent amount of wave clear. Phoenix and Santorin can match up pretty well to do that.
Here's the minion wave.
Extra wave of minions, though. It looks like United. Are they going to focus down on the tower? Licorice on the flip side. Tries to get down a little low, but a good body slam in from Gilius locks up all the damage dealers from Goldcoin United. And with that, it's going to be the opening for eUnited to push in. They've taken down MASH. They've taken down Phoenix. And now they're going after the Nexus. Game number 2, going to eUnited.
Gilius showing that he can perform on the Gragas. Had a number of big flash body slams in that last situation there, able to stun up a number of members of Goldcoin United and make it easy for the rest of his team to follow up, finishing off a couple kills before taking down the Nexus.
Well, that last fight may have been relatively easy for eUnited to execute on once they split things up, but it was definitely a hard-pressed mid-game. Goldcoin United looked to have the upper hand on eUnited for the first 20 to 25 minutes, but as soon as they overextended a little bit, as soon as they went after a fight where there was still the equalizer available, it just completely snowballed back in the opposite direction.
I mean, that's the big thing about when you take these high-damage team comps is that as long as you're relatively even, slightly ahead, they were slightly behind that team fight that they won, but they have so much damage available that if you're not able to instantly kill anyone, your tank still dies really fast. So Solo got focused down while Licorice was mostly invulnerable with the use of the Zanya's Hourglass, and then it's really easy for them to chase through the rest of the fight.
Yeah, and without the Karma on their side this game, without the Lulu or the Soraka available to them, they had a difficult time kind of keeping those key members of their basically their front line alive. We saw Phoenix without a little bit of the sustain, without necessarily having the tank alive in every single fight, wasn't able to dish out the same amount of damage on Ryze that he was in game 1.
And you got to look at the fact that a lot of those aggressive plays, while Goldcoin United had a gold lead, were still mostly being forced by eUnited, and they had plenty of tools to try and get an advantage. We talk about the Ryze, Realm Warp, being able to set up map plays, the Ashe Arrow, you have the Nautilus tank. There's a lot of places that you can potentially look to try and pick a fight, but they really didn't do it until that one around the mid lane.
Yeah, and that's actually a very key difference from game 1 to game 2 is even though eUnited was slightly behind in the mid game this game, it wasn't like it didn't feel that way. They still had tempo in their advantage. They were still trying to force fights, but they're doing it slightly more intelligently. Gilius did have a couple of overextensions on the Gragas, but once they utilized those ultimates and layered them together differently, they were able to slowly come out ahead.
I think Santorin even said it best in the pregame SOT that we had, was that he said you know, even if we keep getting micro advantages, if the other team's playing aggressive and turns one big play, all those micro advantages are wiped away. So you need to actually make your own aggressive big plays here. Gold Coin United not able to find one, and then eUnited's able to turn it back and kind of blow the game open.
Yeah, well, Santorin, maybe he's making predictions against his own team.
Yeah, easy.
You got to kind of shore up those holes there. But for a deep dive on that Game 2 win, let's check in with the analysts.
Thank you very much, Tom, and everyone else here. So let's talk about the fact that, hey, we got the win coming in for Gold, not
EU.
United.
They're
there we
both
go.
United.
My brain
right?
just like AFK'd on this one, of course. Yeah, United. So it means we have at least a game 4. That's exciting. I always love seeing more games. And let's start by talking about team comps. I think it's always very exciting and interesting as well. One thing that stood out to me quite obviously was the fact that Gragas Jungle came in to get a tank for the lineup.
Yeah, exactly. It was for the tank, and I think that this is really great because you have such good laners here on eUnited. When you have Fox, you have Deftly, and then you also have your top laner, Licorice. So when Licorice is going to play the Rumble and not the Shen, which is constantly banned against him because he's so good at that champion, well, you have to have a tank somewhere. Last time they picked the Rengar, and it didn't work out for them, for the Cassiopeia frontline because he's a diver. The Gragas is more of a disengage for your good carries and make sure that you can keep people at a distance, but you can choose your fights as well. So it was kind of like when they're engaged on by a Nautilus, they kite back, they play the team fights better that way, and they were able to play that win condition.
Yeah, and I also loved in the ban phase where love teams who do this. They last pick the Rumble in the first round. With like 2 seconds down, they immediately ban off the Camille. Thank you to Broken Shard for a good pick ban. I thought that was actually very smart. They clearly want to put Licorice on this Rumble. The Rumble is doing work, and they learned from the previous game saying, look, we'll desync the roles. We'll take a jungle ban. That's fine. Don't care about that at all. Let's, you know, Gilius will be serviceable. Let's make sure the matchup is good, and it was. And I love when teams do that. I want to give props to United. I think Broken Shard deserves some credit for this one as well. That set up the team for success. And it was really good to see that their team fighting comp worked.
Yeah, and then when you get to the second ban phase, it's like Lee Sin gets banned away, and then Ezreal, which definitely is very good at Ezreal, but he's also really good at Caitlyn. So these are two champions that you have to ban both of them against him.
Sure.
Or you have to ban Lee Sin, and then if you're banning tanks, you just ban the other tank as well with Gragas. But nobody's really banning Gragas right now. So that's something where it's like we can look at that retroactively and retrospectively and be like, yeah, they should have.
That's what's funny as well is we're seeing a lot of tank tops because there's not a lot of popular tank junglers. There's roughly one popular tank jungler, and that's Gragas. Well, guess what? Comps often need tanks. Like, I think, you know, we're going to get into a world in a couple of weeks here where Gragas becomes more and more and more of a top-tier champion because you need a front line for most compositions. I want to move forward and actually talk about how the teams overall played. We've got a full-screen graphic of how the game played out gold graph-wise and damage graph-wise because I want to start talking about the bot laner here for eUnited. He's been putting up so much work, definitely on the Caitlyn. See the damage graph there? Like, he's out damaging everyone except the poke-focused Jace. This is a really big deal because Jace is often not a great team fighter, but the persistent damage output from this Kate, real big deal. You talked about banning the Kate and the Ezreal. They didn't do both.
Yeah, definitely those are, I believe, his two best champions at the moment. Yeah. He was in the North American Scouting Grounds, and that's how he kind of got picked up. He played 2 games with Phoenix back in the day, both losses, but like this guy did get picked up by this team, and he has been performing quite well as one of the rookies on this squad. And I think that definitely is one of the slept-on guys because there is Gilius and Fox who are veterans on this team. But then there's also the top laner Licorice who has had those standout performances on tanks. Not so much on the carries just yet, but this is a series that he's showing that he can play now.
Yeah, this was a pretty good game from him, and I gotta say, like, their team fights were pretty good. So, you know, I gotta give props to United for actually winning in the mid game and whatnot because the early games have been rough. The next thing I want to kind of break down is the mid lane matchup. It was our featured matchup coming into the day, and I feel like Phoenix is generally getting the better of Fox. You're seeing the CSD. This is from game 1 and game 2. This is the average, by the way, which means total he's up actually 31 minions at 15 minutes, and the gold difference is up there as well. And I feel like Phoenix is actually bashing Fox in the mid lane.
Yeah, even in the Cassiopeia Ryze matchup, which is typically Cassiopeia favored, Ryze was smashing him. He was smashing him. The Cassiopeia was like underneath turret. Phoenix is like, you can't really do anything here, Fox. So what they're doing is they're taking away the Ryze from Fox, but Phoenix is playing it in the laning phase better than pretty much anything that Fox has been able to pull out yet. And when I was watching Challenger earlier, there was a sound on tape about how Phoenix is so hard to read because he's such an aggressive mid laner. And most mid laners will be aggressive only when their jungler's there. So you can't tell when Santorin is around because Phoenix doesn't change his behavior because he's always pushed up. So he's kind of playing it the way that like Faker was playing it at Worlds where mid is just such a centralized part of the map that if you push it up it's much harder to gank it and guarantee that there isn't a counter gank coming because there's routes in there that people can come in. So pushing it up isn't as risky as a lot of people make it out to be.
Exactly. Santorin's always going to be somewhat nearby, and Santorin's just generally been playing the jungle very well early, just in general. So yeah, a lot of props to give to the early laning phase of GCU United. But we're seeing those mid-game teamfights work out. And we have some replays to bring out as well if they are ready. eUnited with a 2% turns into Baron, very well played. With progress already low, they win the fight anyway.
Yeah, this is like the equalizer that turns it all. Licorice is baiting a lot here. The team is able to reset afterwards. And then that is just a very good equalizer that will split the fight. Nobody can really help that front line who just gets shredded down. And when we're talking about having a frontliner there, Gilius is able to disengage the back, and then he's also able to get everybody to focus on that tank and take him down. And then it just becomes a team fight where you run over the rest of them when the tank line is gone.
And that's so crucial as well, because I thought Fox was playing the poke really well. He was landing these shock blasts onto the back line. And if you land a shock blast and get an Ashe to like 2/3 HP, you drop an equalizer on top of that, you will die if you don't kite off the equalizer. Like, that's enough damage where it's just going to add up to you being dead.
And I like how they don't really stand next to each other at all. They fan out so that the frontliner cannot soak shock blasts at the same time that he is keeping the backliner of Deathly down on the Caitlyn, or trying to get through the Gragas, or even just trying to get to the Rumble. So he played the Jace quite well, Fox did. But I do want to see this team be able to, get one of these teams at least to get an early lead and keep an early lead, because we've seen it kind of go back and forth.
Right, you heard what Tom was talking about on the cast, where he's like, yeah, it was eUnited who had gotten the deficit in the 18-minute mark and then still played like they were winning, still setting the pace, and that's true. Like, I actually out loud said GG when there was the like 3-for-0 at Drake Pit where where GCU United wins the fight, because I'm like, well, they're already better late game shot callers. Like, you win a team fight, you get a Drake, it's just over. And again, props to United for turning that one around. So again, a very fun game to watch, a close match here. Of course, it's 1-1, and Game 3 is just around the corner. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more North American Challengers Finals.
The casters were excited to see Ram. That must be a first for him. Yeah, I forgot Ram can hear us. I was just flaming. No, I actually
Basil, you're meant to get into their heads, not mine.
Oh, okay. You're right.
The exhaust is down onto Mad Life. Equalizer cuts him off, and Zazel's there as well as Deathly. First blood, United.
Karma. I got big knockup. Caitlyn, shoot below. Caitlyn, no flash.
Go, Caitlyn!
Okay, nice. Wait, can we go Baron? No. Hey, calm down.
They've taken down Mash, they've taken down Phoenix, and now they're going after the Nexus. Game number 2, going to eUnited.